So spring has arrived in New Zealand, and I'm standing next to the local native Kowhai tree, which is in flower, and it's the national flower of New Zealand, and it just attracts so many local birds, especially the local Tui Bird, which just goes crazy about the nectar. It feeds off the nectar of these flowers. It's got a long tongue, and I'm going to share you some of my best images captured of the Tui Bird, as well as sharing my editing workflow I do in Adobe Lightroom Classic. And for those who don't know me, welcome to my channel. My name is Deon, and I'm just so passionate about photography. It's all about chasing that perfect light, capturing a moment in time to cherish and share forever. It took a long time for me to be convinced of changing my bird photography settings on my camera from manual to aperture priority. And believe me, I haven't gone back. With manual setting, I know you can control your shutter speed and your aperture and ISO and auto. But believe me, aperture priority is a far better professional setting on your camera. On Canon, it's AV, where you dial in your ISO between 2000 up to 3200, and with today's editing software, it's really, really manageable. Your EV light compensation down to 1.5 up to 1.8, even 2, depending on the light conditions, and your aperture at around f9, depending on your focal length, f7 to f9, and this is going to ensure you get a very, very high shutter speed. You need that high shutter speed with bird photography to ensure your images are crisp and sharp. Here we have a raw image taken of a Tui Bird on the Kowhai tree. Always remember to take your images in RAW if you can, with the highest megapixel settings, always in RAW. You bring it into Adobe Lightroom Classic by going to File, Import Videos, Photos and Videos, select your file and hit Import, and then you go over to the Development section over here. Now the first thing we need to do with this image is crop it. So the cropping tool is situated over here, and to keep the proportions constant, you hold down the Shift key, drag with your mouse to about there, drag the subject into position to where you would like it to about, let's say there, and then hit the edit function. Right, pretty good. The next thing I generally do is bring up the vibrance under the basic section here, and bring the vibrance generally up to around 30, and go easy on the saturation to about 5. The next thing I like to do is reduce the shadows. There's a lot of shadows, so bring into the white side, lift those shadows up, as well as some of the whites, and reduce some of the blacks. Overall, the image is underexposed, so we need to lift the highlights, the exposure. I'll say to about there, and we can warm things up slightly to about there. Pretty good. The next thing I generally like to do is denoise the image, and this is situated down the detail section. And what I generally do is just increase a bit of the sharpening, reduce the radius, reduce the detail, and bring the masking down to about halfway, and then hit the denoise function, and AI will do the denoising. Done a pretty good job. Next thing I generally like to do is introduce a mask. We want to actually focus and edit the Tui itself. So the masking tool is situated here. So now we're going to be editing just certain parts of the image, and you use masking tools to select certain parts of the image to edit. So we're going to go mask, and we want to select the subject, and AI is going to detect it, and it's detected the Tui. It's included a couple of the bit of the flowers down the bottom, but that's not too serious. Now that we've got that red part selected, now we can edit that part of the image. And what I want to do here is increase a bit of the saturation, slightly increase the temperature as well, increase the clarity to about there. The overall sharpness we can push up a bit, reduce the noise reduction, the moe, and defringe I leave about halfway. You want to lift more of the shadows as well, increase a bit of the whites, increase the overall exposure of the Tui, and bring down the highlight slightly as well. Pretty happy with that. Now to get out of the masking tools, we just hit the edit button over here, and now we're back to editing the entire image. Next, what I like to do is go down to the color mixer and adjust the colors, and I start off with the hues. And here I generally want to push the reds to the warmer, darker sides, as well as the oranges, bring out more warmth and depth of colors, the yellows as well, make them a bit warmer. The greens, let's just see which way we want to go, either cooler or warmer. In this instance, I'll tend to go a little bit to the greener, cooler side on the aguas. Let's see what it does here, and definitely more to the warmer green side, bringing out those beautiful emerald greens on the feathers. On the blues, let's see here, going to purple, I would stick it to about there. That looks natural. The purples, I'd say about there, and then magenta doesn't make much of an impact. Next, on to the saturation. Here we're just increasing all the colors generally, just enhancing all those colors. Luminance, on the other hand, is going to make your colors either darker or brighter. So the reds, we want to really tone those down a bit. Oranges, you can see what it does to the flowers. We want to lift a little bit of that. Those colors, yellows as well. Let's just see, we don't want to overexpose it to about there. Green, it's really affecting mainly the background. We want to actually darken the background a bit. The aguas, it's really lifting those colors in the feathers, so take it to about there. The blues as well, lift them a bit. And the purples doesn't make much of a difference, as well as the magenta. We'll leave them sort of in the middle. The last thing I like to do is generally include a vignette on just darken the outer edges of the image to really emphasize a focus on the center part of the image being the subject. and I'm pretty happy with this image. Let's just zoom in a bit and look at that detail. Crisp and sharp, colors are vibrant and nice, rich. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's zoom out, and if you want to see a before and after, is you go right down to the top. Just make sure you're in the editing function here, and you see this little eye icon here. You just select that, and that's before and after. Before the edits and after. Well, I hope you found this video useful and you enjoyed it as much as I did, taking these images and sharing them with you. And if you did, give me a big thumbs up. I need the support, and I'll see you soon in the next one.